Okay, now this is something that I feel guilty about, and I should have gone in quarantine and isolation, right? But I didn't know. Our fourth myth is secondhand smoke is not dangerous to other people, uh, especially children, if they are only exposed to a small amount.
Okay, first let us define what secondhand smoke is. Okay, secondhand smoke is the combination of smoke from the burning end of a tobacco cigarette and the smoke breathed out by smokers. Okay, when a smoker blows the smoke in it, the smoke are particulate matters that stay in air for 1 hour or more.
Wow.
Oh, yes. What are particulate matters? Particulate matters are microscopic particles of solid or liquid suspended in air. This should be distinguished from aerosol, which is a term referring to a particulate and air mixture as opposed to particulate matter alone. Okay. Do you know that particulate matters are the most harmful form of air pollution?
No, I
This
did. I
is
didn't know that. So, Doc, this is kind of like if you enter a room 30
yes,
minutes after a smoker was
smoker.
smoking
It's
in
still
it.
there.
Amoy
It's
na
still
amoy
there.
mo, 'di ba?
Yes,
Parang
there.
talaga kadiri talaga. You're like, ew,
Kadiri.
parang may
Si
nagyosi dito
Kadiri.
ha.
Yung si
Pero
Kadiri talaga.
dati, hindi ko napapansin yon. I was like, "Ang tagal ko. That was like an hour ago,
Hmm.
30 minutes ago." So
Yes.
it's because, and if you can smell that harmful secondhand smoke, if you can smell it, that means that harmful secondhand smoke is there.
Still there. Yeah. Actually, we are not talking here of there's still a third hand smoke. The one that attaches to the wall, to anything that within the room and stays there for days. Okay.
Wow, wow,
So
okay,
that
okay.
that's almost the same harm that's gonna give it to you. So I'm saying to you that particulate matter is one of the most harmful, not the most harmful form of air pollution because of their ability to penetrate deep into the lungs and go into the bloodstream and brain, causing them all the problems that we already know about smoking. Okay.
What's another example of particulate matter, Doc? I mean, for like, I don't know. Like, I mean, so,
Okay.
uh,
When we talk of particulate matter, it's about the chemicals you find in the smoke. So there, we already know that we have over 7,000 chemicals in the smoke, and 70 of them are carcinogenic. Okay, benzene for one. So nicotine is also there, included there. But of course, not the toxic one because we all have those. The formaldehyde, the aldehyde group, aromatic metals in there. So they are both solid and liquid suspended particles in air. It's
but like,
particulate matter.
for example, bus fumes, yung mga diesel fumes, are those particulate matter?
Yes, yes, they're part
Uh,
of particulate matters.
yung
Okay.
mga, nung nag-explode yung Taal, 'di ba? Sinabi
Yeah,
nila
of
yung
course.
volcano, yung mga
That's
maliit na ano.
there are particulate matters and there are really not microscopic anymore. So they're bigger than particulate matters, but still partly it's the pollution pa rin yun, no? In
So
the air.
what about secondhand? You brought up aerosols. What about secondhand vape? How dangerous is that?
Well, that's a big difference now because the vapor in vape stays in the air only in 10 seconds. And they have very few, well, okay, in chromatography studies, there are about 150 at most, no? Chemicals found in vapor as compared to 7,000 plus in smoking. Okay, so
Laki ng
and
difference.
and the good thing about this is they have been established, no, so far by evidence, by data, that they are far below the threshold acceptable in occupational health and safety standards. So it makes them very safe, actually, very safe. Although, of course, we don't encourage still for them to be blown out somewhere in public places, because there's still that chance of having to inhale the small chemicals that are in there. So there's a big difference. Partly because it stays very briefly in the air, whereas smoke stays more than an hour in the air, and the smoke contains 7,000 chemicals as compared to 150 or less chemicals by vapor. Okay.
And you don't really have people saying, "Ay, amoy kang vape," 'di ba? Walang
Yeah,
ganon.
there's no
Because
smell.
it doesn't
Because
stay.
that's the truth. That's the truth. Yeah, it doesn't stay in air, so you will never be able to smell it, unless of course you deliberately smell somebody who's blowing. So immediately no. So you probably smell something.
I think the secondhand smoke, the impact of secondhand smoke is very, very relevant, because again, going back to what we were talking about earlier, that's smoking wasn't necessarily a choice, but where and when you smoke is, right? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
like if I
Right.
smoked in the car with my
Yeah,
family
of
around,
course.
that's a choice, right?
That's the truth.
I can hold off a little bit. So are there any ways that you can think of that would minimize exposure to your loved ones to
Of
secondhand
course.
smoke?
Of course, you have to avoid smoking when you are near anyone, particularly, especially your loved ones. And even when you are in the car, actually, when you smoke, even if you open the windows, it helps very little, iba, because of the fact that the smoke and the particulate matter stays in the air for so long. So
Ay, very guilty ako
doesn't
doon.
really yeah, it doesn't really help a lot. So
So,
the best thing is not to smoke. You have to go somewhere else, isolate yourself like you have COVID-19. So that's what you're going to do
yeah.
when you smoke, right?
Yeah, so if you guys care about your family and your friends, go out of your way, because I don't know if this is going to be controversial, but it is proven to be more dangerous and harmful than anything else out there, right?
Yeah.
Smoking.
There's
So
no risk-free level of exposure to secondhand smoke.
yep,
There
yep.
is no risk-free level. So you have to remember that.
And if I mean, and what's striking, Doc, is what you told me. It changes your DNA. It mutates your DNA. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like
This is about
radiation.
40,000 mutations. Yes.
If 40,000 mutations, like it's like radiation. I mean, you know what I mean? If you think of yourself as a smoker, and when you're
Mm-hmm.
smoking, you're impacting everyone around you and you're mutating their DNA. That's a different mindset. It's like you're radioactive, you're toxic, you're literally toxic.
Yeah, exactly.
So, guys, definitely a myth. If you are around people, please don't smoke, especially if they're non-smokers. Um, Wow, we're blitzing through these, Doc. Huh?
Right.
We are now at our. I think we're gonna have to add some other myths, man. We are now at our fifth na.
You're fifth. You're very fast. Well,
Yep.
that's okay. Well, we don't have to discuss a lot about these things now. We just have to debunk them in more or less concise and precise manner for people to understand, because you only have to discuss with them the important details of it. You
Correct.
cannot go
Correct.
deeper into that.
And I mean, if you guys want to research, please. This is just kind of the tip of the iceberg, right? We're just
Right.
sharing information with you from my experience as a former smoker and Doc's deep experience as a harm reduction expert and a doctor. And yeah, please again, share this and to your smoker friends. Quit for Good on Facebook.